Have you come across the name of Nick Fuentes?
Yes.
In connection, did Charlie talk about him? Never. He never mentioned him.
No.
Never mentioned him at all.
Right.
Yeah, because Charlie had texted me. I did a debate with Nick on the Iran issue. It was not about Nick's whole philosophy. We're debating the Trump strike on Iran. We had this pretty feisty exchange. I think I got the better of it. Most people thought I got the better of it. But Charlie, when he found out about it, was very agitated and sent me a series of texts basically saying, why are you platforming this guy? He's vermin. He's horrible. I only say this because
he was on Tucker's show.
He was on Tucker's show, and precisely some of the same things that Nick has been saying, Tucker's been saying.
Right.
And so it's very interesting. I kind of wonder, Charlie, the assassination, there's no more Charlie, and it's hard to know what Charlie would make of all the stuff going on now with Turning Point and also with Tucker, because Tucker's most blatant, I wouldn't say it's not just anti-Israel, it's not just anti-Jew, but now an emerging pro-Islamic side is emerging, right? Coming back to Tucker and your pulling away from Turning Point, as you know, they do a lot of good, and you supported the good stuff they were doing. Did you think that what Tucker was saying was, insidious enough, bad enough, poison in the minds of young people? I'm trying to get at what is it that you said, listen, I love this organization, I love what they've been doing, but guess what? I'm out. It's probably took a lot, because I was in 2022, I was in Phoenix at a Turning Point donor event at which I spoke. You were there. You stood up and you said something like, which really, I remember it, so it's so vivid. You were like, I am trying to give away my money, you said. I think you had put up $100,000. You were asking people to match it. And you were the #1 Turning Point super fan.
Yes,
at
and
donor
in fact, Charlie put me in that position at every major event to make the ask, to talk about why I'm a donor, and that I think all of you who are in this room believe in the mission, and now it's time to write a check, right? And I'm good at that. I put my money where my mouth is. So, but you were asking about why? Okay, why couldn't I overlook it? It's because it's, in the posters advertising Turning Point, Amerifest, or whatever, there were lots of speakers. Donald Trump's son was a speaker, and various senators. But right in the upper left corner, first was Charlie, and next to him was Tucker Carlson. And Tucker was a keynote speaker, or maybe the keynote speaker.
Yo, I gotta jump in here real quick. I'm gonna say something. I don't know what Charlie Kirk would do today. I don't know if Charlie Kirk would boot Tucker Carlson out of there. You don't know either. Charlie Kirk is receiving his eternal reward. He's not concerned about this anymore. Trust me. The problem is, why is Turning Point still allowing Tucker Carlson? The persons that are still here, the Andrew Colvetts, the Erica Kirks, the Mike McCoys, the Blake Neffs, those persons who are responsible for Turning Point now, why are they still allowing Tucker Carlson? Why are they still allowing these people who vehemently went against and fought? Again, they were quick to kick out Tim Pool for whatever he said. They were willing to kick out Tim Pool from America Fest. And I think that was a very wrong move to make. Yeah, I think they could work with Tim Pool. Of course, Tim Pool's got his own issues, but who doesn't have issues? Raise your hand if you don't have issues. But they kept Tucker Carlson. They keep rocking with Megyn. And I think moving forward is going to be very telling. But they had Tucker Carlson on so many platforms post Charlie Kirk in the last 3-4 months. It's crazy work. So my question is, it's not a matter of what would Charlie Kirk do. Why are they doing it? If they understand what Charlie Kirk's doing, why are they allowing him to why are they still platforming Tucker? That's the question I think they need to ask. Okay, let's finish this up. Shout out to Dr. Bob.
So, I could overlook it. There are people with different views on a lot of things. They hate Jews. If it's one out of 30 other people who are on this poster, but he was a key element in these presentations, and that's what did it for me. And not only.
Oh, okay, fine. I'm sorry. I don't think Turning Point is lacking influence. I don't think they're lacking audience. Sure, they might be lacking money, but they had already lost Dr. Bob. I don't think they were losing money like that. That they, again, well, let me ask you this question. Let me throw this question out to you. Do you think that Turning Point would bring in more donations during that time post Charlie Kirk if they kept Tucker or if they booted Tucker? That's my question. I don't think they would have. I think they would have shown principle. I think they would have shown like, oh no, we're not rocking with Tucker. I think that'd have been, and again, like they just don't have to have him. But they booted Tim Pool, and I know Tim Pool said less vehement, horrible things than Tucker Carlson has done.
Only me, other donors too. I mean, I was in contact. Mainly, they contacted me and told me that they were very upset and didn't understand it and didn't see it getting any better. That's the problem. Didn't see it getting any better.
We know a guy in Texas who is a billionaire or close to it, and we got wind of this because the message from Turning Point was, our donors are pulling out. You need to up your donation. So they were pitching other donors to make it up. And so, this at the time we were very much on the outside, but this was very intriguing to hear this rumbling going on. I don't know if you remember, but you sent me what turned out to be a very ill-timed text. It was actually like a day or two before Charlie was assassinated. And you were like, I'm done, I'm out, I'm not going to give them another penny. And then, of course, obviously you had no way of knowing this 2 days later, poor Charlie is shot, he's killed. And then you immediately sent me a text going, oh, I feel horrible. You sent me something basically saying, you realized that this was something that you had sent right before. And what do you make of all the...
Now, he was a wonderful person.
Yes, he was.
I have to tell you. Really impressive. I mean, it's rare for me to give this kind of money to any particular organization. There are a few.
It's me.
But in his presentations, he didn't have notes. He had such a memory for the details, and he'd go through what he promised last year and how they did on those promises. And these were 2 or 3 hour presentations that he would make, and they were exciting. They were interspersed with videos of what his groups were doing, whether it was Turning Point Faith or Blexit or this or that. And he was a very impressive individual, and I thought a good Christian. And I admire Christians. And I support Christian organizations.
So you had no problem as a Jew giving money to Charlie as a Christian, or even Turning Point Faith, which was quite openly, in a sense, advocating. Right. Charlie was surrounded with pastors, and you didn't mind any of that.
I loved it because it was all pro-America. And he had these different groups, and it's important to have all these different groups that have a slightly different focus. So he had this Turning Point Faith, which I loved, and I think probably some of my donations were targeted to Turning Point Faith. Yeah.
What do you make of the Cheers Charlie, he's assassinated. The assassin is turned in by his own family.
Right.
He's connected with this kind of trans network.
Lately, a lot of these acts of violence are by trans.
Have some trans.
Yeah. We shouldn't make guns illegal. We should make trans illegal.
Go ahead, Dr. Bob.
And so this is what baffles me, right? Because you have here these violent networks, and by the way, some of them do military training. There's an Antifa side to what these trans activists do. And yet, just as we're closing in on a public expose of the whole thing, and of course a trial of this guy, the shooter, we now have these conspiracy theories brewing on the right that, well, some
Mossad,
of them, it was Mossad, it's the Egyptian planes, it's Macron. You haven't heard about? No, there's an element, the Macrons, or there's a French Legion military connection. I mean, 99% of this is coming from Candace, who is essentially made maybe not a career, but certainly a portfolio of
Conspiracies.
Well, I call it the Candace Intelligence Agency, the new CIA.
I see.
She's like, me and my followers are going to investigate and bust open and reveal who the true killers are. And she's saying, I'm not saying it isn't this guy. I'm simply saying that it's a much wider. Yeah, right. I'm going to expose the people. What do you make of all this? Have you? It doesn't seem like you follow it all that closely.
Thank goodness.
Right.
I don't. I have other things to do, more productive things to do with my day. But I know people who follow it closely, and the only thing I can make of it is that the technology has given everybody a microphone. Everybody has a microphone, and the more radical you are, the more people are going to pay attention to you, even to argue with you. And that's such a mistake. If you don't believe in what somebody's saying, just turn the channel. Don't send another text to them or to all your friends about why he or she is wrong. Just ignore it. Ignore it all. It's noise. And Candace must have something seriously. And I knew Candace way back when.
Right.
Her first job, as I believe, was with the David Horowitz Freedom Center. He gave her the start. And from there, I think she went to Prager for a while. She was at Prager University. And from there, she went to Ben Shapiro, and Ben finally had to fire her because she became, I think, a Jew hater during that period. So these are Jews who gave her the start. David Horowitz, Dennis Prager, and Ben Shapiro, all Jews. And she was a nobody.
Earlier, you
that's true.
Described yourself as a Zionist. And we seem to be in an atmosphere today where, particularly among young people, there's the sense that that American Jews who are Zionists are putting Israel first, or that Israel is controlling America, or that AIPAC, the American Israel Political Action Committee, is a foreign front that needs to register under the Foreign Agents Act. What do you make of all of this, and how do you address it? This idea that sort of your interests are not America first, they're Israel first.
Well, I live in America. America gave me this opportunity, and it is the best, finest country in the world. And at the same time, I believe that Israel has a right to exist. The history, as shown by some of your movies, matter of fact, prove that. The archaeology proves that the Jews were there first. Okay, they are the inherent,
the original inhabitants.
The original inhabitants of the land. And so I think it's important for Jews to have their own country. There are 52, I think maybe it's more, 52 Islamic countries in the world. Shouldn't the Jews have one? And even though it's a country,
I think that's a very valid question. I don't have a dog in the race, but why can they not exist? Like, I don't get it. I just really want to get, why do they not have the right to exist? But there's 52 other countries. That's crazy work. Let's go.
That's run by Jews and for Jews. Everyone has the same rights. It's the only place in the Middle East where Muslims can practice their faith, Christians can practice their faith, and Jews can, or Hindus, whoever. There's let's say a strange sect I think it's in Tel Aviv. Oh, I'll forget about that. But they have the right to practice their faith. The Abai, whatever.
Religious freedom.
So it's the only country where you have freedom of religion, right? Of all faiths, any faith. And it's a very special thing, but the countries that border it don't believe in that, and they want to destroy Israel. So when I say I'm a Zionist, I'm in favor of there being a country for the Jews.
And what you're saying is that I can be America first, I can be pro-American with an allegiance to America, and I don't think that the interests of Israel conflict with that at all.
Matter of fact, Israel comes closest to the American ethics of freedom and democracy and open free enterprise. It comes the closest to America. So, of course, I want it to exist. I would like every country to be as free as Israel is.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.